I know it's been a long time since the last behind the scenes video, but I wanted to do a sort of wrap up on at least the current status of the set. And I guess I just wanted to go through each little section, explained what I did, and I guess what's left to be done that I've got to figure out. So first, obviously you can see this giant light box here that is hanging up from the wall here. It's kind of annoying. We can't get into this freezer thing, but it gives me some good light for the bench set, I suppose. So this is the bench set. Got two lights. Got this light up here, kind of shining down on the table. This one here, and this is the streaming PC on this rack thing here. Okay, it's got both the capture cards, and yeah, I mean it's mostly this is the camera that it's going to record my face during live streams and videos. This is the top-down shot that you might be familiar with. Behind that, you'll see my microscope. This is a newer stand. The original stand I had, underneath here, there's some bolts that hold this metal pole to the stand, and they kind of fell apart. But thankfully, Amscope replaced it with just a couple of questions. So yeah, and otherwise I got these two monitors. One's for comments usually, and this other one is for pulling up, instructions and things. I think that's pretty much it for the bench. I've got this pull-out drawer thing for mouse and keyboard, and yeah, all my tools and things. So that's really the bench. It's hard to keep this clean, but I do my best. Try to keep things in order, I guess. So the other thing that kind of took me a sort of a long time, and it's definitely not great currently, is this sort of, I don't know, connectivity setup, and where all the scalers are. Okay, so I have my Morph and my RetroTink 4K. Both of these are hooked up basically to those two capture cards in the capture PC, so they can record. They're the AverMedia Live Gamer 4K, so they can capture the 4K 60 that gets output from both of those. So that's what I like to do, is comparisons, side-by-side comparisons between those. And so basically I have to, everything about my setup, at least the capture setup, involves duplicating basically anything, right? So eventually when the analog bridge comes out for the Morph, that's what this component video extension cable is for. Anytime I have an analog console, it goes to this Extron here, and usually this Extron is for component video sources, and you can't really tell, but I've got these component cables, strapped there. So that's like one of each kind of type of these HD Retrovision cables, kind of waiting, ready to go in case I need it. But the cool thing about the Extron is because it's a matrix, I can actually output. Like right now, I guess the Xbox is on. I can output the Xbox to multiple outputs. So like I can output the Xbox, if I had an Xbox connected, to both of the scalers at the same time. And then from there, they go into their individual capture cards. I've learned that these 4K upscalers, they don't really love going into other devices very well, or like daisy chain devices. So let's say it's okay to go into like a receiver or something, but if you try to, I have another 4K 60 FPS switch that I was trying to use to like as a matrix for that, to like split these signals to go other places, and that didn't really work very well. So I find it's better just to have them directly going into the next device, like your AV receiver or your TV or something, as opposed to kind of going through a lot of other things. So that's kind of why I limit those devices to go right into the capture card. And then those capture cards actually have outputs. So the outputs from the capture cards are going to this. Wait, where is it? Somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here. Sorry. This switch. So those are the two pass-through ports from the two capture cards, and then they go out to the TV. So I can choose either one of those scalers to go to the OLED there. So yeah, anyways, this is kind of a nightmare. It's really hard for me to manage it, keep it clean, because I usually end up pulling things out to show them on streams or on videos. So yeah, it's a kind of a frustrating point in my setup for sure. But that kind of leads to the TV setup for me, for playing games. I actually did bring my PS5 down here, so hopefully I get some more time with that. But as you can see right now, it's covered with the project that I'm currently filming. Well, I had to take a break to actually finish this part because this part setting up the setup here took like a week to get it how I'm okay with it. Anyways, this is the new Fantastic series by Tech. This is the N64 replacement shells. So I'm working on a video for that. So this is kind of a little bit behind the scenes. I originally intended to not compare this to the AliExpress shell, which is actually here. I did order one, and I know it says retro is cool, but this is not from Yowie or Yowie or whatever. This is just it's a ripoff of the box. But interestingly, Yowie never released an N64 shell. So AliExpress, or no, not AliExpress. Bitfunks. This is a Bitfunks case. So I'm gonna see what the quality is like between this and the Tech. Otherwise, I'm kind of still working on decorations for the set, right? So I've got this cool walnut coffee table, and I got this like fake IKEA plant, which is kind of neat. And the other thing like these things I don't intend to keep in the set behind the scenes. This is just I ran out of room, so they're just kind of landed there. That's the amp for the speakers. That kind of has to stay. But I was thinking maybe I would have some like more retro style consoles just hanging out, right? So I know it's not the prettiest thing, and it, whatever. But I have the Famicom with the Famicom disk system, so that's kind of neat. And then finally, I suppose, well, two finallys. I ended up putting up this sound blanket. I mean, I've had these sound blankets for a long time, but just to kind of divide the room. You can see how big this room actually is behind the curtain. But I use these sound blankets to kind of keep the sound, the echo down, and to kind of act as a wall divider. So all I did for that was, these things already had, these sound blankets already had grommets in them. So I just bought this cheap ceiling track on Amazon. And it kind of goes there. So if I ever wanted to kind of open or close, like I can close this tighter just to kind of block out the world a little bit more or something. It doesn't really matter, but you get the idea. Kind of keeps the noise down. And then the last thing, which I didn't necessarily intend to be here, but I'm finding out that I need more storage now than ever, just to keep myself organized and things, is just, this is like where my tools are going to be for the bench, like extra tools, just extra things. Just like, that's HDMI cables and USB cables and power cables and just things that I use often, but not, yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of the setup now. Let me know what you think. If you have any more questions, yeah, now it's just going to be gearing up to actually making content. So as you can see, I have that N64 shell, old N64 shell. So that's what's coming next. So, all right. Take care, everybody.